Ladies and gentlemen, do welcome onto the stage, Yuliia Paslon.
If you ask me, what's one of the biggest mistakes leaders make? Some expect me to say something about market shift, strategies, or KPIs. But hear the truth. One of the biggest mistakes leaders make is thinking that love is a feeling. It is not. Love is a set of actions that bring out the best in you without expecting anything in return. And when you lead from that place, magic happens. People don't just perform, they thrive. I grew up in a family and a society where love was transactional. Behave well, get top grades, perform, and then you're loved. For years, I could rationalize anyone's behavior, even if it hurts me. But knowing and feelings are not the same. If someone's behavior makes you feel sad, understanding why doesn't take away the sadness. Many in my generation and younger struggle to actually feel feelings. It's easier to numb them with gaming, alcohol, endless travel, changing jobs every 6 months, you name it. The moment we get uncomfortable, we escape instead of learning from it. I had to unlearn that. Love isn't transaction, it is a way of being. The real love in leadership isn't conditional. It is about showing up consistently, not because your people perform, but because they matter. 6 years ago, when I took over my current role, my main thought was, don't make a mistake. I have done sales for years, but leading a department felt like a different game entirely. Then the pandemic hit. No roadmap, no playbook, no certainty if it would last for a week or 10 years. We were all rebooted overnight. I later realized that fear disguised as responsibility was leading me, but what my team actually needed was love. Jim Carrey once said, "You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love." Fear will always be a part of your life. You can't get rid of it. It's wired into our essence as a survival mechanism. But you can choose whether you are a driver or just a passenger. I am a high achiever. My ex-boss once told me I have an OCD in getting things done. Some call it an obsession with an achievement. But there is a trap. While chasing the next big milestone, we can forget to put love and the soul in the center of everything. That's when burnout happens. Creativity dies. Trust dies. Joy dies. Numbers can't stand alone. They need real connection to give them meaning. I learned it the hard way. First, there is no past merits and numbers. Second, there is nothing to carry forward. Even great result in expense of a team spirit eventually will lead to exhaustion and drop in productivity. You'll hit the goal, but miss the game. Because I could see risks from the miles away, the colleagues once told me that that's the mind of a CEO. That's a great skill, don't get me wrong, until it becomes your default lens. I think I inherited from my mother bloodline, shaped by traumatic events experienced by generations of Soviet children. Survival meant scanning for danger first. You haven't looked for a beauty, you looked for threats. But here's the thing, the brain is neuroplastic, it can change. I had to train mine to see the bright spots first, not just the flaws. Have you ever played the game Find Hearts? I heard about it on one of the podcasts, and practice during my morning runs. The idea is simple. Intentionally look for a heart shape at the world around you. It works because it's rooted in a solid psychology. It trains your reticular activating system to reframe your perception through daily habits and attention focus. At first, you might not see anything, but the more you practice, the more your brain learns to notice beauty and connection everywhere. And here's the leadership truth. When people feel seen and heard, they give their best. You can scare them into compliance, but the only you'll ever get just enough to keep my job. In 1991, the comedy legend John Cleese spoke for video arts about creativity in management and business. Nothing will stop you being creative so effectively as the fear of making a mistake. The very essence of playfulness is an openness to anything that may happen and feeling that whatever happened, it is okay. You cannot be playful if you are frightened that moving some direction may be wrong. You are either free to play or you aren't. Finding hearts trained me to spot the possibility instead of problems. It reminded me that the leader's job, not just to anticipate what might go wrong, is to create a space where people feel free enough to play, take risks, and bring their most creative self into the table. When I was looking for hearts, I was really training myself to lead with love instead of fear. One of the best compliments I ever received from teammate was, "You always gave us the bricks to build the wall." I didn't hand them the answers. I explained them the process and let them handle the rest. I gave them tools and the confidence to build their own success without even realizing it. And that's what I now call the love in leadership. Once people are encouraged to make their own decisions, armed with knowledge and defended by your support, regardless of outcome, they A, become unstoppable, B, won't leave you for a very, very long time. During pandemic, when there wasn't much we could do except to find the revenue stream to keep a ship afloat, we met every week to discuss market trends, revenues, and ideas. Since there wasn't much I could show from the sales perspective, I started to add the comedy slide. First, a meme picture, later a video. Eventually, it became a leadership team game. Who would have thought that the funny video could create connection, lift the mood, and tighten the bond? But it did. Mel Robbins once said, "Your mood is the weather of your company." Apparently, that brought a bit of a sunshine to those serious meetings, which boosted creativity and innovation, though I only realized it later. Mogul Dutt, former Google X executive, says that happiness is our default state. We are born happy. What takes us away from it is a mismatches between our expectation and reality. In simple terms, when life behaves as we expect, we are happy. When it doesn't, we suffer. So, if happiness is our default, then leadership has one responsibility: not to get in the way of it. And that's where love in action comes in. Because love in leadership is not about feelings or slogans. It is a small, consistent actions that reduce fear, build trust, and bring people back to that default state of happiness, where they can thrive, create, and perform at their best. Thus, if you want grow in revenue, brand strength, innovation, and employee retention, you have to invest in love as much as you invest in strategy decks and sales funnels, and data proves it. University of Warwick controlled experiment shows happy individuals were about 12% more productive. Oxford call center study, happy workers were 13% more productive, measured by both calls made per hour and conversion rates. Shown anchors happiness advantage. Being in a positive mindset make the brain up to 31% more productive. And in sales specifically, performance improved by 37%. Google Workplace happiness initiatives. Employee satisfaction jumped by 37%, with direct impact on both innovation and retention. Across the workforce, happy employees consistently deliver up to 13% higher productivity, and happy salespeople produce 37% greater sales. So, the equation is simple. Love isn't soft, it is strategic, it is measurable, and it pays back in performance, retention, and innovation. In 2024, while preparing for the commercial conference to tell the story how we overachieved our 2023 revenue targets, I sat down to prepare the presentation and realized we didn't get there by chasing the number. We got there by focusing on the process, the fun, the creativity, the connection, and the trust. And all those small actions build up like as bricks until we had something strong and lasting. Without faith, leadership becomes micromanagement. And micromanagement kills the trust. It shows up from the lack of trust, and no matter the intention, and bring the opposite outcome. For me, faith is about trust. Trust that people are capable. Trust that mistakes can and should be the part of a journey. Trust that even when things don't go as planned, growth is still possible. Grace in leadership is not about lowering the standards. It means creating space where people can take risks, make mistakes, and grow without fear of humiliation or punishment. And in today's global workplace, where we bring together different culture, backgrounds, and beliefs, there is one universal language: love. Love as action, respect, empathy, encouragement. That's what transcends borders. That's what allows people from completely different worlds come together, collaborate, and create something bigger than themselves. MIT Sloan research shows that when employees work in a high-trust culture, motivation jumps by 260%, absenteeism drops by 41%, and people 50% less likely to leave. Franklin Covey called it the trust dividend, the extra energy, creativity, and commitment you get when people know you believe in them. So let's stop pretend that we are a family. We are colleagues. But we can be colleagues who trust each other enough to bring out the best in each other. Grace fuels trust. Trust fuels performance. And leaders who understand that faith in their people is not naive, is the most strategic move they can make. While working on this piece, I think I finally answered the question, what is love? Well, at least for now. Love is a set of actions that bring out the best in you without expecting anything in return. By doing this, you radiate belonging, joy, calm, and peace. And others respond by bringing the best in themselves too. How does it translate into day-to-day action? Well, let me quote, because I couldn't say it better myself. Speak without being offensive. Listen without being defensive. And always, always leave your opponent with their dignity. I leave you with these questions. If love was a strategy in your company, what would you change first? How would you treat your people differently tomorrow morning? How would you show up differently at the meeting you have right after this talk? Because leadership is not about knowing all the answers. It is about building the kind of a wall where everyone's bricks matter. Fear can be the passenger, but let love drive. Thank you.